This is module 1, video 1. This is the very first video of our course, and I'm excited. I hope all of you are. We will start by understanding what ESG is, right? So, most of us know, or all of us know, what ESG broadly means, but it's always a good idea to refresh our minds. So, ESG represents, or ESG stands for, three broad areas of study. It's an acronym for environmental, social, and governance. And these are the three broad areas, three pillars of ESG. So, three areas of study, three areas of reporting. As we know, it means non-financial reporting. By financial reporting, we mean, the balance sheet, the P&L statement, cash flow statement, and records to accounts and other account related things. This is the other portion of reporting, which is called non-financial reporting. So we report on environmental aspects or environmental performance of an organization. If we talk about corporates, if we talk about any company, we report on social related aspects, governance related aspects, right? And there are different focus areas within each of these areas, right? So for example, in environment or under environment, we have climate change is the biggest issue, greenhouse gas emissions. Then water is another major issue. Waste related issues are there. Circularity, which is related to waste. Then we have sustainable packaging, which is also related to waste. Then we have biodiversity related issues. Then energy management, right? There are a lot of different things which come under energy management, use of renewable energy. So these are the different areas. In social, we have very important, which has been one of the issues, health and safety of employees, which has been there since many decades. Then we have labor standards, very important issue. Then we have diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, which is gaining momentum, or which has gained momentum in recent decade. Then we have human right related issues, in which we have child labor, the many issues. And all these issues, so and for environmental, social, and governance, there will be, under the umbrella, there will be many focus issues, but for each industry, the issues will be different. The material issues will be different, right? So I just wanted to clear that at the very beginning. Under governance, we have ethics, we have transparency, anti-bribery, anti-corruption, right? So corporate governance related issues. Then a brief history of ESG, how ESG came together, ES and G, all these three came together, discussed in our webinar in detail. But yes, just very quickly, we refresh. It's a 200-year-old history. If I want to start, I always start with the before the Industrial Revolution happened in America, in the UK, in broad Europe, when the world needed a lot of output, right? We were on the path of becoming an industrial world from the agrarian world. So people had to do a lot of work, long working hours. There were no facilities, there were no policies, right? The wages were very low. So these were all the issues. Then on the environmental side, there were pollution related issues, so air pollution, water pollution. There were, on the governance side, there were many issues, which sort of culminated into, when the World War II came, the output had to be increased for the countries which were fighting, for the people which were fighting, right? For the soldiers and other things. And when things cooled down after World War II, what happened? People started realizing their working conditions, the wages, the long working hours. It started taking toll on their health, on their kids' health, on the family time, on the work life balance. So what they started becoming aware. They started becoming, forming associations, forming unions, and that's when they started raising their voice, or in public. Also, on the environmental front, global warming started happening, greenhouse gas emissions because of these industries, because of burning of a lot of fossil fuels. Then in 1890s, 80s and 90s and 2000s, there were a lot of corporate governance related issues which happened. So it all, led to the United Nations becoming very active on tackling these issues or taking care of these issues. Then 1992, UN, the famous Rio summit happened on the environmental front. And then if we, move on to the 2004, the term ESG was coined for the very first time in the UN Global Compact report. Who cares? Wins. The report is available online if somebody want to read it. And then 1997, 98 GRI happened, which was the first reporting framework, the draft. And then after GRI, based on GRI, there were a lot of reporting frameworks came, right, with different focus. So GRI focus on transparency, TCFD, for example, focus on climate related financial disclosures and climate risks, so on and so forth. Why ESG matters today? So ESG matters because, investors, they say, why should I give you money if you're not working in for the environment, right? Why should I give you money if you're not growing sustainability, if you're only focusing on the profitability? So investors use ESG to assess risk and long-term value. For example, investors, they use the framework. They don't just want to focus on the profitability. They want to see if an organization is working in these areas to make it more sustainable in the long term, to tackle the climate related issues, to tackle the social issues and the corporate governance related issues, right? Because they're putting their money, and they've been the biggest reason since early 2000s. But now regulations are also coming in, so we are going from voluntary regulations towards a mandatory regulations. A lot of governments are coming up with the regulations with the help of the capital markets regulators. For India, in case of India, we have SEBI, which has come up with BRSR. In case of some Middle Eastern countries, their regulators, their stock market regulators have come up with some regulations. Then European Union has come up with CSRD, CS triple D, UN taxonomy, about which we will study in more detail later in our course. Then customers and employees. So customers, they want to use sustainable products now. We are all going towards sustainable products. They want to deal with companies which are sustainable or which are taking initiatives, right? So it indirectly, directly or indirectly leads to your brand recognition, your brand value, right? Then ESG performance in the fourth point, as we saying, the brand value, the cost of capital. If you are reporting on ESG parameters, if you are reporting on ESG factors, if you are, taking some good initiatives for sustainable performance, to become more sustainable, to take care or to handle your climate related risk and other ESG related risk, then you can get capital at a lower cost, right? From the investors, from the banks. So there will be a capital ease also. Now, what does ESGS compliance mean? So we just saw ESG as a framework, as a reporting framework. Then we talked about the regulations which are coming in, which is the compliance issue, right? So now the world is going in a direction where all these regulations are getting or becoming mandatory. EU has taken the lead, European Union, but now some other countries are coming up with mandatory regulations for some of the biggest companies. In India, we have BRSR, other countries also, right? Stakeholders, the market participants, the investors also want that increased responsibility from these companies, right? So why ESG has become a compliance requirement? There's risk management, the climate related risk, there's social related, the labor related issues, the government corporate governance related issues, the corruption, right? The board of at the even at the board of director level, there may be corruption in hiring of talent. There may be corruption in procurement of raw materials, selling, right? Sometimes there's pharma companies which are in highlight due to some compliance related issues, due to some bribery and corruption related issues. There are other industries also. So that's the risk management, why these regulators, why the investors want more compliance. Then global financial stability. So regulators view ESG risk as financial risk, obviously, right? So ESG risk, for example, if an organization has, say, 20 uh, manufacturing units, one of the manufacturing unit is situated near the river bank, or it's flown to, or prone to floods during the rainy time, or during the monsoon time, then it leads to a financial it may lead to a financial loss if the flooding happens, right? So in the manufacturing unit, you have machinery, you have finished products, you have raw materials, and if the flooding happens, that may get damaged, and it will lead to your financial loss, right? It will lead to lower production, it will lead to stop in production. So these are the kind of issues which investors are very cautious about, which investors want to, be very, say, confident about before investing in a company, even after investing in a company. So if you want their money to be invested, yes, you have to report on these. You have to report your climate related risk. You have to report your corporate governance related risk, which are, mostly embedded in the risk management. Then stakeholder trust. So transparent ESG practices build confidence among investors, lenders, and customers, as we have, discussed. Now, if you don't comply with the ESG reporting or the ESG compliance related requirements in EU under CSRD, you may have to, pay penalties under CS triple D. Also, there are penalties, and I think that we are going in that direction. If you are not transparent about your ESG disclosure, disclosing your ESG related risk, if you are not transparent on, say, on ground initiatives, which means you are saying something on paper in your sustainability report, but it is not happening on the ground, which means you're greenwashing, you will have to pay hefty penalties to the regulators, apart from losing investors' trust, losing customers' trust, losing even your employees' trust. So it will lead to your damage to your reputation, right? So this is how serious it is getting. Now we have some, regulations. We've been talking about CSRD, which is mandatory. Because of omnibus, there have been some delays. There are some, recent updates about CSRD, and I think in next 2-3 months we will have a clear picture of the new CSRD, or the what have been the changes in the CSRD from regulatory point of view. Then in India we have the biggest Indian regulation, which is BRSR by SEBI, which is the capital market regulator in our country. Then in US we have SEC, climate disclosure related rules, right? Climate disclosure rules. Then we have global, we have ISSB standards, IFRS S1 and S2, which, we are hoping that in years to come, say from 3 to 4, 5 years from now, many jurisdictions will be calling their companies to report on these standards, just like IFRS financial disclosure rules, right? So we will learn more about all this in the later part of the course. Now, what this means for professionals. So, right, so we discussed in the webinar that there's something for each and every industry related professional. There's something for different professional coming from different fields, different domains. So, for example, finance related professionals, because we are now seeing ESG risk. integrating into financial related disclosures, because ESG risk will lead to or are leading to financial risk. This is what we have identified. This is what we have discovered. Also, in case of ESG data reporting, we need the data to be as accurate as the financial data, as complete as the financial data, as relevant as the financial data. So that's where, chartered accountants and other accountants, certified accountants, they come in. They build controls, they build governance over ESG data. Then EHS related professionals, because they're already dealing with a lot of metrics, and knowingly or unknowingly, they are reporting, or they know the reporting of these kind of disclosures. So incident related, then energy related disclosures, right? So they already know about ESG related reporting. Is just the gap is there in the understanding of ESG, the conceptual understanding of ESG. Then HR on the social side, they have been tracking lot of social pillar related metrics like DEI metrics, like number of employees, the turnover ratio, and human right, the many issues, right? The many issues, the many metrics they've been tracking. And in our ESG reporting process, if we want social related data, the metrics data, if we want to have any discussions on social related issues, we connect with HR, we contact HR, right? So the stakeholder engagement happens within different teams of HR, depending on the organizational structure. Then data analytics, we do data analytics day in and day out, although it's not a very complex data analysis, but yes. Right, so the data collection, verification of the data, the governance in the data consolidation, then there are different trend analysis within the data, right? So where are we now? Currently, ESG has become, it is integrated with the business. It is integrated with the business strategy. Now the organizations have started realizing, have started saying that, ESG issues are as important as business related issues, or as important as financial issues. Because if we don't focus on these issues, then maybe in future it may lead to a very huge financial loss, very huge reputational loss means, you the customers, your customers will not trust you, they will stop buying from you, investors will not invest in you. So it's as important as the financial issues. Global standards, a lot of global standards have come up, but the consolidation is currently happening. So ISSB, so IFRS, under IFRS, we've seen TCFD integrated, SASB integrated, IR also integrated, elements of IR, right? GRI is there. GRI is mapping their metrics and their processes with the CSRD, with the IFRS S1 and S2, with the local regulations like BRSR. So that's kind of a consolidation is happening, because all these reporting frameworks, they just don't want to remain as just a reporting framework, just a tick box. They want to uh, create value for the organizations which are reporting in alignment with these kind of reporting frameworks, right? So data technology and cross-functional roles. So there's lot of teams within an organizations are contributing to ESG. It's not just ESG team, it's not just sustainability team. There are a lot of teams. Finance has a very big role to play. HR related people have a very big role to play. EHS people have a very big role to play. Corporate secretariat, so they deal with corporate governance related issues, right? Then R&D, you name it, and you will have contribution from all these teams, all the teams, because we need to connect with each and everyone within the organization to get some sort of data reported from their area, right? So they also get knowledge, and if they start, they have a sort of very regular role in reporting, in connecting with us, then maybe in the future they have they have transferable skills and internal transfers. I have seen in many organizations happening from different teams to ESG. ESG is not isolated anymore, right? We just discussed it's integrating, sustainability into your core decision making in your products, in designing your products, in marketing your products. So for example, sustainable packaging, right? If you're using sustainable packaging, and if you are talking about your sustainable packaging, if it is doing good for the environment, then why not? It should be a marketing, right? It should lead to increase your product sales. If you are going towards, or if you are in R&D developing products which are low carbon alternatives of the products which are in the market, mainly this is I would say this is very much in sync with the pharma industries, with capital goods industries, right? So pharma industries, they have inhalers, they have devices which can be low carbon initiatives, low carbon alternatives. Now, the next topic here is the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, Sustainable Development Goals are these are the set of 17 global goals established by the UN. So they came or they were established in 2015. They are currently active now till 2030. We will see after 2030 what will happen. Will we continue with SDGs, or will we have a new strategy? But currently, they're very much active. Before SDGs, we had MDGs, Millennium Development Goals. But then, Millennium talks about a specific time frame. Sustainability talks about all the future generations, right? So they should be comfortable. They should have resources to use at their disposal, right? So these 17 sustainable development goals are in all these three areas. If you just we will have a look at all these sustainable, and you can very easily map these goals with E, S, and G. Some of the goals are in environmental space or environmental areas. Some of the goals are social centric. Some of the goals are, governance related, or partnerships related. The goals, these SDGs, are meant for countries or at a very macro level, but we all know that all these companies, all these organizations, they operate, they manufacture in the countries, within the country's boundaries. So they also have a responsibility, because the corporate companies, manufacturing units, right, factories, they are the emitters of greenhouse gases. That's where most of the employees work. There's a lot of workforce working in. They deal with a lot of capital, right? So there can be a lot of governance related issues, corporate governance related issues. They can build partnerships, right? So all the sustainable related goals, that trickle down to these corporates. These are interconnected. So if you say, for example, work on any specific goal, you may be progressing on other goals also. So your single activity may be about progressing on other goals. So for example, if say you are using sustainable packaging, right? So sustainable packaging is catering to maybe SDG 12, SDG number 12, right? And it may also be, or it will also be, tackling, or it will also relate to SDG 13, which is climate change related SDG. It will also, or it may also relate with any other SDG, right? So one activity can be mapped to different sustainable development goals. Now, each goal has some targets. Each goal in itself is very broad, very basic, but these goals have targets and metrics. So targets are, specific under each goal. Maybe SDG 1 have some targets, SDG 2 have some targets, so total of 169 targets on which you work, right? So what happens is, these corporates, if they are, working in ESG aspects, if they are measuring their performance on ESG, if they're taking sustainability initiatives, then they can always, map their activities, their goals, objectives, the vision, the mission, their activity, the projects with, these sustainable development goals. And this mapping is the major exercise, or this mapping is the major practical topic which we are going to discuss in our next video, right? Alignment with SDGs is not mandatory, it is voluntary. But say, It's very simple. If you're, talking about SDGs, because SDGs is a global call, right? All the governments are talking about it. Even India has some SDG targets. All countries which are signatories, they have SDG targets. Now, if you are also talking about SDGs, you have SDG related targets. If you measure your performance on these SDGs, which means you are aligned with the country's goals. So if an Indian company is measuring, is performing on these SDGs, is mapping these SDGs with its activities and performance, that means it is aligned with India's goal on SDG targets. So this is a brand. It's a matter of brand. It's a matter of reputation. It's a matter of your profitability. Again, all your stakeholders, your customers, your employees, also regulator wise, also, right? You're talking something good. So these are the SDGs. Number one is no poverty, then zero hunger, then good health and well-being, gender equality, clean water, which is related to environment. So in total, we have total of 17 SDGs. Now, what you can do here is, as a very small exercise, just look at this slide. You can pause the video, look at the slide, and just see, or try to try to map the SDGs with E, S, or G, right? So a single SDG can be mapped to all three, right? So clean water, for example, can be mapped to environment easily, can be mapped to social, if we also build communities in it, right? If we also talk about communities, governance also, if there are policies related to clean water and sanitation, then governance also. For that, you will have to go a bit deeper and look at the targets, right? So why SDGs matter for corporate strategic alignment with global priorities like climate change, then obviously investor expectations. If you talk about SDGs, which means you're aligned with the country's growth, if you are aligned with the country's development on SDGs, with the country's say commitment on SDGs, and you will be in a better position to take the money from the market, to take money from investors. Investors will come to lenders, will also may lend you at lower rates, may lend you easier, may form favorable policies in your favor if you want to lend money. So these are the different reasons, right? So risk management also, many SDGs, they relate to business related risk, climate change related risk. So then water scarcity, equality in ESG related risk, they align, right? Reputation also, then access to capital market, we've just discussed. Uh, SDGs highlight new can lead to innovation also. So if you say read the targets, if you read the metrics, right, you may get some innovative idea, right? There will be discussions within at the top level, on the board of directors level, at the committee level, and you may come up with innovative ideas to cater these with these SDGs, and it may relate, it may end up having a new business line, it may end up having a new profitability line for you, right? And then the regulatory and policy trends are always there. Why report on SDG? There's a communication impact. You communicate on SDGs, right? So it shows your stakeholders that you care about these issues. Then it will improve transparency also. So your activities, your metrics, if they're aligned with SDGs, you can easily make it, make the relation. Then it will also help you in identify gaps and opportunities, partnerships, and benchmarking, right? Now, what will happen if the companies don't engage? There's no mandatory requirement to align with SDGs, but yes, we discussed. So, if you align with SDGs, if you map and report on SDGs, your brand reputation will increase. If you don't do, and say in your sector, for example, pharma sector, your peers are doing it, other companies are doing it, then you will be seen as someone who is not say who doesn't care about these things, the companies which is not focusing on ESG issues or environmental issues, right? Also, you may be missing on ESG related investments. So if investors, they are concerned about these issues, right? And there are 10 different companies in your sector. Why will they invest in you if you're not, working in these areas, if you're not focusing on ESG related issues? They may invest in other companies also. So that's one point of view, right? Reputational damage will be there, and you may lose out on your good employees talent, because they care about, people have started caring about these issues, environmental issues mostly, right? Then social related issues, the communities, your effect on communities, whether your activities are impacting a community, the local community where your manufacturing site is situated or not, or corporate governance related issues, right? If you're not being transparent, then the outsiders will not know. So that's there, right? So in next video we will discuss about the mapping of sustainable development goals. But before ending this video, I would want to, leave you with this one example. This I've taken from Nestle's SDG report. This is showing how Nestle is mapping its activities or its achievements or its performance, its projects or its initiatives with the SDGs. If you read the first sentence, 10 million young people around the world, we aim to help access economic opportunities by 2030. So what they're saying is, directly or indirectly, their activities, their products are helping or will help around 10 million people across the globe to achieve economic prosperity, economic opportunities, right? For example, they're associated with farmers, they're associated with different dairies, they're associated with, maybe packaging companies, their suppliers, others. So directly or indirectly, this is the number of people, 10 million people who are engaged with Nestle, and they will get economic benefits. So decent work and economic growth. So this is how it is relating to SDG number 8. Then 198.7 billion total number of servings of micronutrient fortified foods and beverages, right? So this is leading to zero hunger, because you are providing nutritious food, you are catering to nutritious food, your products are catering to nutritious food. And in African countries, in some low income companies, as part of their CSR activities, as part of their social commitments, they give these products at lower rates, sometimes as an aid, sometimes for free. So they're contributing to zero hunger. Now, the process, it's, in this slide, if I am an investor, I'm just reading it, I don't have any access apart from this. How will I assure or ensure that this information is correct, right? So obviously, if you're saying that Nestle is a very reputed company, it's a global company, obviously they are doing it. But internally, if you're doing this exercise, if you're mapping SDGs with your activities, you should have the proper evidence. So evidencing is very important in everything we do in the ESG, right? Because this is a proof of something that we have done, right? And then other SDGs also, they're contributing to other SDGs. I will provide the link of this report first in the WhatsApp group I will provide, and then this group is also part of the assignment that we are going to do after we finish our next, going through our next video, which talks about SDG mapping. We will do the assignment to know how it is done practically, right? So all the very best. I hope you like the video. We have talked a lot of, a lot of concepts, a lot of theory in this video. But yes, going forward, we will be moving towards the practicals. Thank you.